Finding your balance amongst the chaos is the energy that I'm feeling for us for the next 4 days. This is for Monday through Thursday, August 17th through the 21st. And as I was sitting here, just like really feeling into what is it that needs to be delivered? What is it that is for our highest good to kind of really step into? And it's finding that equilibrium, even though everything is just going. It's like, when is enough enough? When am I going to finally put me first? No more excuses, no more waiting for the perfect time. It is me to see it through. It is me, the way in which I shift in the seeing, right? Also being realistic with yourself, but also in that realism that you see yourself for who you are, what you're here to do, what is for you at this time. So let's begin with the cleansing and clearing. So I have here some sage and some rose petals. And I feel like we need some rose energy to bring in some sweetness into the truths that are stepping forward for us, because not everything is so beautiful or feels so good, but it's at the same time liberating. It's like when you finally find out a truth around something, even though it's painful, you finally feel free, because now you're not guessing, now you're not living in limerence or in a fake reality. You're no longer gaslighting yourself or allowing others to do that to you. There could be sadness underneath it, but what comes from that is just because you had an expectation, and expectations aren't necessarily bad, right? It's not bad to expect to be treated well if you treat someone well, right? A lot of times people are like, you shouldn't have expectations, you set yourself up for failure. Yes and no, right? Sometimes those expectations allow us to see our gauge. It becomes a gauge, a time of balance. And it's like, wait, I've been giving too much, waiting on something to be balanced. So I feel that amongst the chaos of everything that is going on, for us to bring in that sense of equilibrium. And what brings you there, right? What brings you to your equilibrium, right? You might hear some stuff in the background. I have family here. They're doing their best to, not make noise, but it's okay. Just letting you know. Right? And it's interesting because my voice was fine until I started talking about creating that balance of equilibrium. And I could feel like it's starting to like just kind of clog up. And that is showing me my area of equilibrium, where I need to do work around speaking, right? And feeling confident even in the chaos, even if it's not 100% finished, right? Or not knowing, just trust in what is being led by my own intuitive guidance, right? So here we're cleansing the energy. Send some over to you. All right. So let's see what the cards have to tell us, right? That was just like the message. Ooh, Five of Cups. Okay. Five of Cups is about, looking at what has been spilled, right? But not necessarily looking at what still remains standing. Ace of Wands, Nine of Swords in reverse, and Four of Pentacles in reverse. All of those flipped over. Let's see, let's see. I feel like there's a few more cards. Let's see. What else would you like to tell us for this week? Three of Swords. Ooh, right in the middle. Three of Swords is the heartbreak card. It's like the realization. So there is something that you finally see for what it has been for you. And even though there's a sense of freedom, there's pain that comes with it. Seven of Swords, Queen of Cups. And underneath the deck, what we have there, the Hermit. The only major arcana card that has come up is underneath the deck, and that is very significant. As you know, the major arcana cards are archetypal experiences that we have. We all kind of go through them in different phases in our life. And the Hermit is the one that goes into themselves. They kind of get away from the world, the chaos. They go more into their introspection work, right? And what is that? That is the place where it's not that you're not doing anything. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be home and you're just watching TV. It's actually not that. The hermit is the one who sits and meditates and journals and works on like their dreams, their desires in quiet, right? This is the quiet artist. This is the person you knew for 10 years and then you finally know one day because you went to their house that they know how to paint and they paint really well and they never said anything and they're like, yeah, that's what I do on my own. That's the hermit. And then you're like, wait, this is actually a story in your painting. I think you should share about your process. I think it will help other people, right? And so that's what the hermit energy is about. And underneath everything, unconsciously, with all these things coming up, right? Like, this is a good time, and there is a little bit of bitterness under it, right? It's like the revelation of certain truths is like, ugh, but I'm also grateful for being able to see truthfully, right? I'm not playing under an illusion, right? So I'm going to show you the first line. Five of Cups, Ace of Wands, and the Nine of Swords in reverse. This is good, right? The Five of Cups, you see the woman, she's looking at three cups that have been spilled over. There's two remaining. But those three cups that are there, a lot of times people, when they see this card, is like, turn around, you're not seeing the bright side. And it's like, yes, there are still standing cups. There's still love to be had. There's still emotions and experiences to be held. And in order for you to finally actually turn around and see it, is looking at what made those cups fall, right? It's not to sit here in blame, it's to sit here in awareness. It's like, let's say you finally broke free from that job, right? But now you're like, I don't have a job, I don't have money coming in, right? And you're kind of sitting in this place of like, right? But you have to look at, why did you make that decision in the first place? They were disrespectful. It wasn't aligning with my morals and my values in life, right? They were expecting me to do things that were just not fair, and I couldn't take it anymore. I finally ripped it out. Finally said, enough is enough. I clap my shoulders off of it, right? But I need to look and be honest with myself so that I can turn around and see the possibilities that there is, right? But first, I need to see what crumbled it down. And the thing here, what I love right after that, is the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is like a new message from Spirit, because to me, Wands is connected to fire and it's connected to our spirit, right? It's the spirit within. There is some action that comes with it, because when you feel moved by the spirit, you are moved by the spirit. Your body is moved by the spirit. And so there's a new something that comes in awareness of like, well, now that all my time isn't being occupied doing something for someone who didn't value me, I could finally finish, and you fill in the blank, right? I could finally try to see if I could get that dream job I've always wanted. I could go to school and finish whatever, right? You fill in the blank. It's like, at some moment you look at what has been spilled, but then you when you look at that and you're like, okay, great, I'm proud of myself for not being afraid and living from fear, right? One of the traps, spiritual traps that we all fall under is fear, right? Fear, fright. And when we allow that to be the only way in which we make decisions, we are making decisions based only on the underworld, right? And what we are learning is how to integrate the lessons of the underworld into the light and perspective on how we see life and how truths are really being shown, because we've been fed many lies, and a lot of the things we don't even know that we're repeating are still the part of those lies. So as we start to take off the illusions, we start to see things more clearly and ideas come in. Well, now that my energy isn't fully invested in this thing or this person or whatever it is, I can now do this thing that I've always wanted to do. There's no more excuse anymore, right? We're removing the excuse, and it may be scary, but it's always scary in the beginning. Anything new is scary in the beginning, right? Think about the first time you kissed somebody. Think about the first time you went on a date. Think about right? Like the first time you rode a bike, if you ever ridden a bike, right? Like the first time you went on a plane, right? There's always a fear when you first do something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. It just means that you haven't been through it. You haven't had that experience yet. And then once you have that experience, you're fine. You go on one date, then you figure out how to do more dates, and then you're like a pro at dating, right? Same. This is what this is talking about, right? And with this Nine of Swords in reverse, I like it because I feel like the message comes at night, but instead of it coming in a way where it felt like a disruption, you now have some time to be like, oh, it is 3 in the morning and I got awakened, but I don't have to be up. So let me go take out my journal and just write what just came up, right? And then there's some like gifts that are given to you in those moments, right? There's something about like you're going through the experience, but it's the way in which you're handling it to kind of really flip it around, right? So Monday, it feels more like a slow pace of like seeing that out. It looks like moving into Tuesday, Wednesday, the heat gets like really in your face with this Four of Pentacles in reverse, Three of Swords in the upright, and the Seven of Swords. Look at this. This is this is in the middle of the reading. This Three of Swords. It doesn't look pretty, right? It's nothing to be afraid of, but I am here to deliver honesty, right? This Three of Swords right in the middle is like I need to acknowledge the pain and listen to the message behind it so that I can integrate the growth. Because with this Four of Pentacles in reverse and then the Seven of Swords surrounding it, it's like the Four of Pentacles is about like having a stable ground and it's in reverse. The Seven of Swords is about in conflict. It's about like battle, like ready to fight, right? The Seven of Swords is like you're looking, you got five swords in your hand and you have two behind you and you're looking at them like how can I figure out how to carry all these swords, right? It's like trying to carry everything on your own, but it's in your mind that makes you believe that you have to do things a certain way, and it comes from the pain of the betrayal of the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords, it's like severe heartbreak, right? And it's like you finally, come to terms with like your partner's been cheating on you, and you finally are like, I know you're cheating on me. And you say it and you voice it and you said, and then you may say something like, I know I'm not, I don't deserve to be treated that way, which then moves me into the direction of saying, I must let you go, right? And that is all painful because That's not the life I envisioned for myself. I envisioned us being together. I envisioned this. But I also didn't envision you cheating on me and me having to pretend like this didn't exist. And I don't think I should put that dream to rest of having a beautiful love because you decided to break my trust. Right? Like there's something around that, like growth and maturing, right? Where in the past it would have been more like, how can I handle forgiving this person and not being bitter and this and that. That's a lot of work on you for something that came towards you, not necessarily that you did to yourself, right? And there may be some things here where it's like you might blame yourself because you saw it, you saw the signs, you saw it, but then you finally got to a place where you can't deny it, right? Maybe you find out your partner got pregnant by somebody else, or um, they got someone else pregnant, depending, whatever, right? So there is those sort of things. And it could also be at work, right? Like it, you apply it to what is happening in your life. I'm giving you scenarios so that you can see what I'm talking about. But it is like something that you gotta pull those swords out and drop them, right? Because the wisdom is in the wands, this Ace of Wands that's right above the Three of Swords. And right under the Three of Swords, on the third line, only one card came out, and that was the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups energy is the most loving of all the queens, right? She's focused on her cup. And so this is her focus on her healing, focus on rebuilding her cup, because over here we began with that Five of Cups, which is like cups being spilled over. There was some sadness. And I want to point out something here. In the Five of Cups, you see there's three cups that have fallen. In the Three of Swords, it's three swords. So it's like you have to look at what has been the pain, and it's more than one thing, right? It's like a combination of a sort. It's like certain things that came together that happened, that you then see, okay, it's time for me to work through this and heal, right? It's like I can't act as if everyone is going to be this way, but I also must bring in my level of maturity, which is like I need to see, like the Queen of Cups, that what I'm worthy of. And as I stand in my worthiness, as I start rebuilding my heart, my worthiness, my truth, as I start seeing, like, I didn't deserve to be treated or seen second or to be seen third. I'm worth, I bring value to this world, and I can have loving relationships, a loving career, and things like that. And there's something about that, right? Like, so I'll share this. I, on the side, part time do nannying. I've been doing that for quite some time, right? And for a long time, I thought, oh, I just need to let that go and move in this other direction. And I've been super blessed to be working with a family that is, there's such a beautiful family. Yes, there's still work to do. I still have the babies, right? And all those things, but I get to work with people who are respectful towards each other, towards me. We all work in cohesiveness, right? We share our wisdoms with one another, right? It's very beautiful. And so I'm sharing that because before that, I thought I was on the wrong path. I'm not on the wrong path. That is a part of my journey. A part of my journey is to also be this keeper of these beautiful souls, these babies, and help raise them into the world, right? On top of being able to do this work, right? And this very soon, I can feel it in every fiber of my being. It's about to shift, and it's going to shift so differently. And I don't even know what it is, but I am seeing it. And I have to put to rest the way in which I once done things, right? The way in which I once showed up here and all of that is shifting, right? And there's some sadness around that, but then there's liberation because I get to walk into something else, something what I would like to start doing. And it has, ooh, I will show you what's underneath this. I just so happened to see it. Underneath everything, unconsciously, what's carrying everything out is for us to be the hermit. And the hermit is in isolation. It is being diligent around what is important for your heart and your spirit, your mind and your body. And it comes from you moving in the direction of listening inwardly. And that's going to require you to do things a little bit slower. It's going to require you to take the time to journal or meditate or move your body. Something that I feel here is that a lot of you, and you're not alone, I fall into this category as well, is your nervous system is stuck, right? So yeah, there's moments of relief, but then the anxiety continues to kind of take hold in your body, right? And then the thoughts happen, and and then the cycle, and then all those things start to occur. And what this is saying is you got to look at what is being seen there, and you got to get into knowing what your nervous system needs to regulate, right? Like, it's time to mature and stop being like, oh, that's woo woo. If that's woo woo, you are in the wrong place, because I'm here to talk to people who take themselves seriously and who are not here to just take a pill or have a one time fix. That is not how things work. There is nothing that works that way. The electricity in your home doesn't just turn on by a flick. Yes, we have it as such, but there is so much more happening in between the walls, going to the power lines, and then the power lines connecting to the grid, and then the grid connected to this and the earth and the this and the. We don't know all the steps, but we just turn on the light. But there's a whole system, and that is what is happening in you, to turn on your light, to welcome in your relaxed nervous system. You have to put into practice the pieces, the the things that go under, the things you don't see, the wiring under the wall, right? The grounding cord that has to be connected to the earth so we don't get electric shock, right? All of those things that comes from being in the hermit. Right under the hermit, we have another major arcana, the Hierophant. Look at this. The Hierophant energy is the one who like has overcome, right? They have this, the number 5, and this is what number, oh, this is 4 and 5. Wow, look at that. So it's like 4 and 5. It's like once you go through the hermit stage, which I'm feeling is not going to last very long, it's going to last a week or two for you to integrate. And it's good because we are now like in the middle of these eclipses, right? We just went through the new moon eclipse and we're going into the full moon eclipse. And they create different energies. And a part of that, it creates chaos. It disrupts things that are on a cycle for a reason. Sorry for the noise. It disrupts things, right? And so this is about holding yourself like, yeah, things could be disrupted, things could be happening, but I don't have to have that in my body, right? And that's the thing, is like, if the things outside of you start to get misplaced and your nervous system gets whacked. And I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you have guests over, they start moving things around. If your nervous system is find safety in having everything organized in a specific way, when those things get moved, what kind of comes to the surface could be anger, bitterness, upset, frustration, right? Those sort of feelings. And when you notice that, it's because you have given your energy, or like it's like you've given the permission to the outside world to be the thing that makes you feel stable. And what's being called here is for you to find stability within yourself. right? All the heartbreak stuff and all these things is they are reflecting parts where you had given a part of yourself so that you can feel safe. You're like, oh, I'll just chip this part of me because they're going to give me this. And then you realize that was an illusion and you've given this part of yourself that you feel that you can't get back. It's not necessarily true you can't get it back. What it is asking you to mature, to step into maturity. And we all need to mature no matter what age we are. We are constantly evolving, constantly stepping into more wisdom, into more knowing. And there's a need to like learn something new. With this hermit, you see their curiosity is opening the computer. And to me, it's almost like opening a book, right? The computer is connected to so much information all around the world. We can learn so much through the computer. We can also let that be the thing that diminishes us as well, where we get overwhelmed and stuff. So, this is how are you going to use the resources that are in front of you? Because you have to put these swords down. The seven of swords is about ready for fighting, ready for battle, and it's because you've gotten hurt. You could come in, ma. So right now, what is the integration is bringing you to the Queen of Cups, right? Which is she's rebuilding herself, rebuilding what she's who she is. And as she does so, she recognizes I've always been worthy of being treated well. I've always been worthy to be happy at where I work. I've always been worthy. Why did I not let myself see that? Right? That might be a question. Or it might be, I'm finally grateful that I see through that I wasn't allowing that to happen. What can I put into place now to make sure that I don't fall into those old patterns again, where I'm overextending myself to the point where I don't consider myself. Because that 5 of cups in the beginning gave me that energy that it's like I gave so much, but that was the problem because you did not consider yourself, and others were like, well, she's okay with not, for paying for everything, so that's fine. Not thinking, right? Because like not feeling into how it's impacting you, right? So I'm just using that as an example, but it's something like that, right? Where it's like you have to advocate for yourself all the time. Yes, you are very helpful and you always want to be helping. And then it's either you're very helpful or you like completely cut off and say, no, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not helping. And those levels of extreme are not going to help you, especially during this energy because you're being pushed to a place to mature. And a part of maturing is like trying to figure out the ups and downs around certain things. It's not necessarily like given to you easily on a platter, right? Um, the other day, I was walking the dogs and I don't know what it was. Something popped out. I think a person came and like startled me and I could already feel my heart racing. And I was like, oh, it was fine. It was just a person. And as I'm walking away, I could still feel the fright in my body. And so instead of being like, oh, that jerk or blah, 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 I sat with myself and I said, I need to work on my nervous system because I had saw what it was. Why am I still acting in my body? Why is my body still responding to it as a threat? I need to build a relationship between the talking with myself. There's a distrust in that. And I saw that. So I started like, okay, this is where I'm going to start. I'm going to work on fright, right? So whenever I get frightened, I'm going to see how long does it take and measure it out every time until it gets to a point where I tell myself and immediately I'm able to calm myself down. And that is possible, but that takes discipline. It takes a discipline that you have to want to fall in love with. I want to fall in love with that because I don't want to be in fright. I understand the cost of that in my body. My cortisol levels go up. And as a woman my age, when your cortisol levels go up, it disrupts your hormones, it disrupts my development, and it will affect in turn my organs, it will affect my skin, it will affect my hair, it will affect all the things that I value with this physical body and that I put in time and attention in. So you see, like, how when you slow down in it and you see it for what it really is, there's a gift in that. All right, so I'm going to pull out a card for each day as additional guidance. So this is going to be for Monday, the 17th. What would the energies like to tell us for Monday? We have the number 48, Angel of Balance. Okay, so for Monday, you see that? It's about the balancing it out. Okay, so Monday's energy is looking at what is bothering you, right? What is bothering me? And to look at it from a mature lens, not from the lens like this happened to me and blah 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 blah. Yes, it did. And now become your own therapist, right? If you were telling someone else what you were just going through and they were coming to you to help you regulate yourself, what would they say, right? Like, kind of put yourself in that. And if you don't know what to say, then, like, maybe your best friend who always has the best words to say to you, what would my best friend say to me about this situation? How would they help me calm down? Right? Or your friend or whoever it is that you trust or your therapist, right? Like something along those lines, right? So that's Monday. Tuesday, that's too many cards. Yeah, way too many cards. I did see the anxiety card, but it was way too many cards. So I just want one card. There we go. Financial constraints. It did come up in reverse, but I'm not doing reversals in this one. So it's like there is worry around money, right? Resources as well. It might not just be money, but resources. You might have the money, but not the resource to get something, right? Like, so on Tuesday is about recognizing that. Wednesday, we have the temple path. The temple path, and we have number 12, is about following your light, going within, right? And letting yourself not talk yourself out of what you have learned from your going within. You go in, you do your meditation, and you come out and you're not integrating what you've just put into your meditation. It's not helping you. What it's telling you is to integrate that into your day. Wednesday is going to be like a very spiritual day. Something is happening spiritually. It's like you go Monday and it's like, oh, okay, I gotta figure out some stuff. I'm looking at some hard truths. Then part of that hard truths leads into Tuesday where you're recognizing some restrictions. Is like, well, if I had more money or if I lived over here, I could do this. But and then on Wednesday, sorry, you move into a more lighter place where you're like, I'm going to do the best I can knowing that I have this goal. It's like putting goals into place. And let's see what we have for Thursday. Thursday. We have the goddess of the moon. When is the eclipse? I think it's next week, right? The full moon eclipse. So the goddess of the moon, number 52. I love this card. It's a very beautiful card. Like the image. So it's like the week starts off a little heavy, right? There's a little bit of like, all right, I see some stuff. There's some things I'm disappointed. Some past memories are coming in. It's so inconvenient, right? It might be coming in a moment of Like, oh, well, I'm here, this is my one time off, and here I am getting flooded with memories, right? Whatever it is, um, you're gonna notice that sort of happening this week, and you're being you're being gifted the opportunity to shift things around to its truth, but it's going to require some learning. And I do feel that you're going to need some help, right? And this is like calling in your spirit. This is bringing in like-minded community. This is going to be important to try not to do this on your own, right? And it's going to be difficult because you've been betrayed, you've been lied to, you've been hurt, right? So it's like to go and trust into someone or things like that. It feels raw, it feels vulnerable, but it's like it's the right thing for you, right? And the right thing is because you are in a place of rebuilding yourself, but you kind of need that reflection, right? Like the other day, I had shared something with a friend in like text, whatever, right? And then she responded back and she's like, "Oh, you're so worth blah blah blah, right? Like you're so worthy of goodness and things like that." And yes, I know that, but having someone else tell you sometimes it sinks in, right? And so I feel like there's something like that. And then I messaged her later on. And I was like, thank you for those words because it's sunk in when you said it, right? Like I know it. It's not something brand new, but something about hearing it outside of me from someone who doesn't really know me, is a new friend, right? To see and real and see that, oh yeah, you are worth like being communicated to. You are a great person. Just to hear it from outside of you sometimes is what's needed. It's not about like I need to learn something completely new. There is some learning new stuff here because there's some things that like you've been seeing it distorted because you've been gaslighted for a long time. You've been manipulated for a long time. You've been lied to for quite some time. So, because of that, you see the world through those lenses and you're like operating like you still need to operate from that place. But it's like as you start removing yourself from those pains, you start to see that there are other ways to relate to yourself, to others, to spirit, to everything that you're doing. And some of this wisdom comes from, a lot of this comes from the unseen world, unseen work that you're doing with yourself in that hermit stage that then moves you into the Hierophant, right? And the Hierophant is the one who sees, the one who's like on the throne, the one who's bringing the balance between the dark and the light, right? Like it has two pillars here, right? And it's talking about bringing those pillars into harmony, not making them the same, letting them have their sacred dance, right? Like we are not here to be the same. We are here to be our own unique imprint of who we're meant to be. And so that's where the energy is. And relearning, I love this card, this Queen of Cups card that we end with, because it's like you finally stop overly fixating on the outside, all the outside stuff, and all trying to control things from the outside, and really start working from loving yourself from within, holding your heart and saying, I love you. I really do. I love you. And my love for myself is enough. And yes, I want more love. I want sexy love. I want love from the animals. I want love from everywhere. But the love from me is important. And feel that. Feel yourself returning that love. And the love isn't about having the most beautiful clothes, doing the perfect makeup. Those are nice ways of displaying how we take care of ourselves. But love is a feeling internally, is an unseen thing. It's like the air. You don't see the air, but you know you need air to breathe and that there is air happening because that's why you're alive. So to see the love in the same way, I'm fueling myself, even though it's not there, I still know it's important for me to have positive thoughts around myself, to think constantly great things of myself. And when I make a mistake, to correct it, to honor myself still and say, well, I didn't know then. That may have been really dumb of me. Okay, fine, laugh it off. Or maybe it was something that you did and you felt like it was hurtful towards yourself. You could cry it out. That was really hurtful. I'm so sorry that you didn't stand up for yourself. So sorry you didn't know you could. I'm so sorry I didn't know that I could stand up for myself in that way. And you could feel that. Oh, I felt that. Right? So there's someone who I say that to, that they feel that. And when you feel that, let the emotion come in. And then let the love visit right after. Let yourself feel it. Right? And that's what this is about. It's not the external, it's the internal, because there's things that are going to start happening very fast outside of us and we just can't keep up with it. It's not meant for us to keep up with it. It's not meant for us to know how everything works, like electricity. We just know that we press it and turn it on, but we have to have respect that there's a whole process for that to happen. It's a whole process as to why I have this house. There's a whole process, as all of those things, right? So, and when we have respect and reverence for that, it really makes our life a lot better, because it gives us the opportunity to see the beauty of where we are at this time in life. Like, we are living in a time where we have so much advancements, so many things that we can do that our ancestors couldn't even dream of, right? Flushing toilets, running water in the home, right? Like, that would be a job that took every day many hours, that a lot of our families had to do. Go to the well, get the water. Literally, my dad was telling me this, right? We were talking about stuff about like past times and this times, and he was like, when he was a kid in Puerto Rico, he would have to go to the water wells, go collect water for him and his brothers, go get the water and bring it to the house every day before going to school. So he would have to wake up early, go do that, bring the waters home, and then they would get ready to go to school. We don't do that now. God forbid we have our kids make their own breakfast. Right? Like, such a different concept, but it gives so much respect and so much reverence, and and to see, like, wow, I have running water. That's great. It allows me to now do X, Y, and Z faster. Now I could do other things, and I want to fill those other things that I do with things that bring me joy. I can't keep doing things that make me sad. And that's what this is like really addressing. It's like you kind of have to let go of the things that have made you sad. And you've been operating from like, I have to do that, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. And it's like, you don't have to do anything. You have a choice, and in the choices you allow yourself to kind of move and see things through. But if you just say, oh, I have to do this, you won't be inspired with a new way of doing things, right? Somewhere somebody had to be like, what would it be like to have a flushing toilet, to have running water in the home, where we didn't have to go to the water well and walk miles with heavy water gallons and bring them home for the day. And if you don't do that, you don't have water for that day. Totally different concept, right? Someone had to think that through. Someone had to really process that, and then talk to others who had a similar vision, and then together bring in how that can work. So there's things like that. Like, don't see it as an end. See it as a possibility to do things differently, and it may require you to see the world differently, but it is very beautiful what is here to be created, right? Everyone's story is different, but trust in yourself. So I love this for us. If you would like to do a session with me, I would love to do so. I'm offering 30-minute complimentary sessions at this time. You can book it on my site, soylamedicina.com. The information will be here. I would love to talk to you. and see what we can do for you, what is happening for you, what are your blind spots, and how to not make them blind spots anymore. All right, mi gente. Until next time, I'm your host, Aku. This is hosted by Miracles Within Us, and this is the series of Soy la Medicina. Thank you for being here with me. I really love doing this. And I can feel this sense of calmness, and I really feel that it's addressing because of that day that I told you that I was walking the dogs and I realized the fright, and I've been working on that, and that has allowed my nervous system to really just be more at peace. And in such way, it's communicating that way, and I hope that you can feel that, and I hope you can take that in, take some of this juicy energy in, and invite yourself to bring in more peace and more joy into your experience while still looking at what has been happening. All right, my friends. So the next time, Amaku, also known as Melissa, speak to you next week. Oh, speak to you Friday. Actually, bye. From my heart to yours. Ciao.